When you hear the name Adolf Hitler, you probably think of the absolute worst humanity has to offer. And you'd be right. But even a monster like him had an origin story. So how did a seemingly ordinary boy from Austria become, well, him? That's the question we're going to dig into today.
I mean, just look at this picture. Back in 1889, in a small Austrian town, this is the child that was born. It's almost impossible to square this image with the future that was waiting for him, and for the entire world.
Yeah, think again, because that seemingly innocent start takes a really dark and complicated turn. This is the story of how that baby grew into the man who would define the 20th century in the most horrific way you can imagine.
To even begin to understand the man, you have to start with his family. So let's dive into the pretty messy world of his parents, Alois and Clara.
His father, Alois, was, well, he was a piece of work. This guy's romantic history was just chaotic. First, he marries a rich older woman, but has affairs on the side. When she dies, he marries his mistress. And when she dies, he marries his much younger cousin, Clara. And that turbulent family dynamic, it's going to have a huge impact on their son, Adolf.
So Clara, his mother, had already lost 3 babies. Just heartbreaking. So when Adolf comes along, she pours every ounce of love and attention into him. They had this incredibly close bond. But his father, Alois, a totally different story. He was a strict, angry man, and after Adolf's older half-brother ran away, all that anger found the new target, young Adolf.
So you've got this really volatile home life, right? It's basically a powder keg of resentment just waiting to go off. And now we turn to his school years, where we start to see the beginnings of a full-blown rebellion.
You know, you might be surprised to hear this, but at first Hitler was actually a pretty good student. He was popular, a leader when the neighborhood kids played war games, and he loved to read. But that phase didn't last. As he hit his teenage years, this defiant streak just exploded. He got caught smoking, started leading raids on local orchards, and, this is a big one, he began tormenting his pro-Austrian teacher with German nationalist symbols.
And this right here, this is absolutely critical. This wasn't just a kid acting out. His father was a proud Austrian civil servant, totally loyal to the empire. So for Adolf to embrace German nationalism, it was a direct slap in the face. It was his ultimate weapon against his father, and it defined his entire adolescence.
Then, when he was 10, another tragedy hit. His younger brother, who he adored, died from measles, and this loss just seemed to break something inside him. His grades completely tanked, he became withdrawn, and neighbors even reported him doing bizarre things like talking to trees. You can only imagine how this went over with his already furious father. The final showdown came when his dad, Alois, insisted that Adolf follow in his footsteps and become a civil servant. Adolf's response? No way. He was going to be an artist. Well, his father died shortly after that, and any discipline that was left in Hitler's life just vanished. He dropped out of high school, and in what might be the most visceral act of rebellion ever, he literally used his final school certificate as toilet paper.
So, he's 16, his father's gone, no education, he's completely adrift. He decides to chase that artistic dream all the way to Vienna, a city that would end up being the very place where his hateful ideology would be forged.
That dream of becoming an artist, it got crushed, and fast. He was rejected by the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, not once, but twice. His only friend at the time said he was a guy with intense passion, but also prone to these terrifying fits of rage. Getting rejected just poured gasoline on that fire and left him with absolutely no direction.
And just when you think things couldn't get worse for him, he gets word that his mother, really the only person who ever showed him unconditional love, was dying. He raced home to be with her. The family doctor later said he'd never seen anyone so completely consumed by grief.
Now he's an orphan and flat broke. He was truly alone. He ended up spending years on the streets of Vienna, sleeping in homeless shelters, trying to sell postcards just to eat. And it was in this desperate, vulnerable state that he was exposed to this toxic soup of political extremism. He just devoured anti-Semitic newspapers and became fascinated by far-right politicians who blamed every single problem on Jewish people. And this is it. This is where the foundation of his monstrous ideology was laid. He got hooked on this idea of Aryan supremacy, the belief that the German Aryan race was superior to everyone else, and that history was just one long battle for racial purity. This became the core of his worldview, a belief that would have catastrophic results.
Now Hitler hated the multi-ethnic Austrian army, so to dodge serving, he fled to Munich, Germany. He was still just drifting aimlessly until 1914. World War I breaks out, and it gives him something he'd been desperately searching for his whole life, a cause.
He couldn't wait to sign up. He eagerly enlisted in the German army, and for the first time, he felt like he belonged somewhere. He was actually a brave soldier, even won the Iron Cross. He survived a nasty shrapnel wound and a poison gas attack. But in late 1918, as he's lying in a hospital bed recovering, he hears the news that just shatters his entire world. Germany had surrendered.
Now, this is a really important point to get. For pretty much everyone else, war is absolute hell. But for Hitler, it was the best time of his life. He finally had a purpose, a band of brothers, and a clear enemy to fight. The news that Germany lost wasn't just a political defeat. For him, it was a devastating personal blow.
He just could not accept that Germany had been beaten on the battlefield. It didn't make sense to him. So, like a lot of other Germans at the time, he grabbed onto a simple and incredibly dangerous lie to explain it all.
This was the infamous stab in the back myth. The idea that the German army was never actually defeated, but was betrayed by traitors back home, specifically communists and Jews. This conspiracy theory took all of that hate that had been bubbling up inside him for years and gave it a single, sharp focus.
So, by the end of World War I, all the pieces are there. You've got a man shaped by failure and rejection, absolutely consumed by resentment, and now armed with a deadly focused ideology. The stage was set for one of the darkest chapters in all of human history. The only question left was, what happens next?